Hey everyone, welcome to no, not the midday show. It's the afternoon show, the weekly wrap up. It's May 19th. My name's Jason. I'll be semi-guiding you through the weekly review of everything that's happened this week and what is most likely to happen next week. I hope you've had a wonderful week. And it's a pretty kind of a slow day today, and I don't think you can blame anyone for wanting to be outside. I don't know about you, but it's a gorgeous, beautiful day here. And there's not a lot that can stop me from being outside, but I do love talking about charts quite a bit. Um, but I am looking forward to getting outside. Gonna do some work in the orchard, do some weeding, move my new ducklings outside today, and I go check on them, hang out with the animals for a little bit, see how the pigs are doing in the heat. But it's gonna be a good weekend. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to review the indices, primarily looking at the bigger picture. What do we need to see for our four major players to get things going? Is today's consolidation healthy? What sort of follow through did we see from yesterday? And what are our tech names telling us about what is likely to come? We're also going to take a look at some commodities. We do have some time for ticker requests today as well. Get some of those from the Chart Guys community. I see some of them popping up on the old YouTube chat as well. Check out some heat maps. We'll check out some spider sectors. We'll see what happens where we float around today. Ultimately, we're just going to have a good time. And I enjoy doing this. And if you're watching, I'm assuming you enjoy hearing about charts as well. Do you know what the fun part is? Okay, if you're into trading stocks, you've probably, have you ever had the issue where someone asks what you do? And if you say you're a day trader or a stock trader, it's usually like the complete end of the conversation, or very rarely is it a positive conversation, right? People are very speculative about what you're doing if you're a full-time trader. But once in a while, you find other people who are as cool as you are and like to trade stocks. And man, when those people get together, it's just a good time. So you're with me here. Chat if you want. Let's hang out. Let's get into it. All right. So NQ on the daily time frame. We're going to jump a little bit back and forth here as we get into the analysis because there are some lessons that we picked up from yesterday's action. On the weekly time frame, our NQ is looking gorgeous. Big weekly higher lows, perfect touches of our EMA 12. That's the blue line there. Very often we find that just coming into play, and it's been so consistently beautiful and useful for me over the last few years that it's just become part of my repertoire. And I forgot to do an audio check. No one's yelling at me, so I'm guessing we're good. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yes, EMA 12. Perfect for me, a very effective level that I can look for higher lows against. If I am in an overall bullish uptrend and my shorter term time frames are doing some heavy consolidation, and I see we're approaching, say, for example, the weekly EMA 12 here, I start to get a little bit more interested in the possible strength of those higher lows being formed. And that's particularly nice because on those short-term time frames, it gets kind of scary, right? It's hard for us, even seasoned people who have been trading for a long time, who know to expect the downturn and the drawdown to be our area where we need to strike. The more appealing it is, the more difficult it can be at the same time. So I like to use my EMA 12 as a quick visual reminder to say, hey, you're okay. This might be a good place for you to consider taking some action. So what I'm saying here is we have our weekly uptrend. The NQ bulls are doing really, really well. If you caught yesterday's midday live stream, we were talking a lot about this 13,740.75 level on the NQ weekly, and that was really nice. We were going to be using that as a target. And the point at which we were talking about that level, we were looking at the hourly time frame on the NQ and QQQ, and we were looking to build out a bull flag. And we were just in the beginning stages of that bull flag being formed. In fact, we hit our high, and we're in the midst of our first 15-minute low being set. And what we talked about was looking for a 15-minute low, a 15-minute lower high, a 15-minute lower low without follow through as one of the most likely outcomes for that type of strength into consolidation. Let's go check it out. Hourly time frame. This is where we were seeing that level. All right, Thursday. Yes. So where was our target? I believe I'm using the wrong target. Okay. Hourly time frame. Wrong target. We're over the weekly level. Here is our hourly bulls. We had just pushed up very effectively, and the point at our call, right about here, should be about, yes, 9 o'clock is when we start to stream. So right about here, looking for a 15-minute lower high, a lower low, no follow through, and then continuation. And what's really kind of fun and really, well, I keep saying beautiful, but the charts are beautiful, is when you get into periods of nice extension. And I haven't had a chance to measure this one out, but one of the things that we can do with our flags, and most of you chart guys peoples know all about this because I talk about it a lot, is we can look for extensions and we can look for the movements of our flags. So our first phase and our second phase, we can look for our third phase to be in close to our first phase. And let's see if I've done that correctly. In fact, I haven't quite, have I? A little bit bigger. But that's almost a full perfect play of a bull flag on the hourly time frame. Absolutely gorgeous. So let's go back, get rid of that little lesson as a follow-up on the hourly time frame for a bull flag. Pretty much textbook. All right, so back to our overall analysis. Weekly time frame, the daily bulls knocked out our 13,740 level 75. We got our full extension of, or very close to our full extension of our hourly bull flag. And at that point, we are overbought on the daily time frame. We're overbought short term. We have cleared our major obstacles, and we can start to look for some consolidation. And one of the fellows that was watching the stream yesterday was in some puts looking for a reason to short. And at that time, you know, all we had was the potential for that hourly bull flag, more likely for that follow through. But once we get that extension and we run out of reasons for the bulls to be able to keep going without consolidation, that third phase is a lot like when you get a big gap up after a run. You have extended so much effort. It's hard for anyone to continue. And then we get that consolidation. So the lessons of the weekly time frame for the NQ are that we have done very, very well. We've knocked out a lot of our goals. And this sort of short-term consolidation that we're seeing today is very warranted. And that consolidation, if we look to our tech names, which have really been carrying a lot of the weight, let's go look at that. Nvidia, for example, is in a nice 50-minute equilibrium. Tesla was doing something very similar when I last looked at it. Come on, keyboard. 15. Come on. Come on. That's a nice EQ, right? So we're seeing healthy consolidation. We go to our heat maps. We can see overall we're relatively flat. We go over to the SPY, you know, or the S&P, NICE, whatever you want, whatever phrase you want to use. We're holding out pretty okay, right? So this is nice, healthy consolidation. Now we go back to our NQ and we ask, how does it look on the daily time frame? Short-term consolidation, overbought, running out of reasons for the bulls to want to continue going without being able to chill out a little bit. So far, we still have a daily stair-step pattern up. Very healthy consolidation, hourly time frame, hitting lower lows, lower highs in a very calculated drawdown way. Support at the bottom of our flag, 13,757. What we would like to see would be a big 4-hour higher low, right in the area of our EMA 12. Looking for continuation. So thus far in NQ, healthy consolidation. Daily time frame still has some room to the downside. This would be a pretty impressive higher low hold if the bulls do get it. I think we're more likely to see another bit of a red day and that sort of similar descent into daily consolidation with a break of today's low on our next trading day and a little bit of a bull flag possibility shaping up against for the NQ bulls. So overall, pretty tasty. Now, for that sort of continuation, we're going to need to see a lot more strength coming into everyone else, right? We need to have our NQ bulls pushing up and then our other indices following through. So with that said, we're going to go look at our ES. Make sure and check my chats here. Thanks, Night Truck. I appreciate that. Night Truck is like a sneaky superhero in the Chart Guys community. He's like the #1 guy on the pregame show for audio visuals. He's always here to lend a hand. He's on the trigger, man. I appreciate you being around, Nitro. You're gonna have a number 5 badge on your name in no time at all. Well, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna be another 3 years, but I look forward to spending with you. You know, we've been doing this now in some form since like almost 10 years. Like Chart Guys itself was formed in 2015, but we were doing some like chat room stuff before then. It's pretty wild, man. The beard definitely has a lot more salt than pepper these days. Okay. Yes. Yes, on the weekly time frame. So we chopped. Well, we did chop. We chatted a little bit the other day about this range that we were going back and forth in. On the weekly time frame, we had our weekly resistance right here. 42.0850. Bulls managed to just get above that level, but because we pulled back, it is a little bit of a cause for concern. So what I like to do is go and mark in repeated areas of high rejection, a lack of interest over these key levels. We're going to see something similar as we look at our R2Y. And if you've been listening to the wrap-up show or any of my other shows, you know how I'm feeling about the Russell as a key indicator. Right now, on the ES weekly time frame, we did get a weekly high or low. We did break up, but we do have this confining range. So we cannot draw this another way. We can look at our consolidation patterns and say, hey, look, we've got ourselves a little bit of a wedge lord situation, in which case we have a lot of time for continuation. What I'd like to see is a more concise break over 42.50. And because my long-term positions are long positions, I want to be really wrong about this. I would love the bulls to just crack right through this level, overthrow this descending wedge, because this is generically a reversal pattern, right? And we don't have a huge substantial rise to give us cause to believe that it's going to be anything other than, you know, a low and maybe more sideways action. So I'd like to see that evidence come into play. I'd like to see the NQ bulls get some good follow through on their big daily setup. Let's get a daily bull flag going. Let's look for more follow through over its weekly resistances. And then what I want to see is the ES bulls having a similar show of strength. And I'm going to get rid of this wedge because it's going to put a very big bear bias on me. I'd like to get the bulls over our 43.2750 level. That is the goal for the next couple of weeks. I'd like to close over 42.0850, and I'd like the bulls to be strong, and I would like to see them continue on with the next obstacle being that 43.2750 level. We go to the daily time frame. Choppy sideways range for the most part. We are now back testing that former area of resist, so we can go on the highs here. We can see, oh, whack at this stuff showing up, shaping up, showing up. It's all in here. Hold on. I can never tell what sort of animal noises are those that need to be addressed. But it's a new one. I'm not sure what it is. Doesn't sound too bad though. I got a new pig about 3 weeks ago, and he's a big boar, and we've never had a boar. So far, he's broken out of his pen twice, and I've had to increase the juice on his hot wire. But he's like a velociraptor. He just goes around testing to see what areas he can get out of. Not because he's a bad guy, but because I've got some beautiful pig ladies that he's very interested in, and he's willing to take some hot wire to the face. He's done it twice to get over there. So I'm just a little bit concerned about him getting out again, because believe it or not, I cannot tell a big pig what to do. You just can't. They are very oppositional. They will go in the opposite direction of where you want them to go. They do what they want to do. So it's better just to be friends. All right, ES bulls, daily time frame, 42.0625, and our big area of resistance in here coming into play. So what do we want to do? We want to have similar shorter term consolidation. We want to form a daily high or low. We want to see the NQ bulls follow through. We want to see the ES bulls follow through with the potential for a big 4 hour or even an hourly high or low. Actually, our hourly high or low is not on the table anymore because we have dropped below 42.12. So all in all, again, consistent strength. You could make an argument for a bear flag on the hourly time frame here, but if we go into the substructure, what we see is actually more equilibrium. Can it be bearish? Absolutely, but an equilibrium is more likely to just, well, it is true balance. A bear flag or a bull flag is a good vote of confidence for the direction in which it preceded, whereas an equilibrium really can just be hanging out in balance, waiting for direction in order to form a 4 hour high or low. If that's the case, then we're going to look for a move up. We're going to look for a 4 hour lower high. We're going to look for flag type structures, as our market decides to figure out what it wants to do here. So hourly time frame fine, 50-minute equilibrium on the ES. So overall more balanced than we're seeing on the NQ. We never really did get too far into the 50-minute time frame there. All right, YM. So you're using the back burner indicator. What do I use it for? Great question. So the back burner indicator, I won't get too sales pitchy. It just tells you when things are overbought or oversold in a period which the market is very strong or very weak. So if your market is incredibly weak, you're likely to see some short-term exhaustion, and that exhaustion often means like the bears go, not playing anymore. They're tired, they can't. They have nothing left to sell. Then you get an opportunity where the bulls can really ramp up speed and get some short-term wins. However, they often run out of speed too because there are far fewer participants playing in that direction. So what the back burner does is it gives us an indication as to where, based on technicals, we're more likely to see that sort of scenario shape up, and then it tells us when it fires, and then the gray lines here give me a reference for RSI. So the reason I leave it on here is for my RSI levels, as I know the price is going to have to get up here to be overbought or down here to be oversold. When those light up, I know that those overall conditions are ready for the back burner, and it'll show up in a few places here as we poke around. And if I think of one and I see one, I'll bring it up and explain how it works. Okay, YM. Weekly time frame. The YM and the Russell are where we're really seeing the more lack of clarity and direction, because where we have our NQ with a strong weekly uptrend and our ES trying to get as strong, certainly in a weekly uptrend with a converging range, our YM is really, well, it's sideways, but it is also down. We talked about that last week as well. Lower highs on the weekly time frame, lots of room for a higher low on the weekly, but now we have seen a weekly inside bar break bearish, and we ended up dipping back above the close or the low of that previous candle, which means the key level for us to watch next week is 33,731. We'd like to see a bull break over that level and then a move back up to test 34,363. That would give us a weekly inside bar bear break into reversal, showing a lack of follow through to the downside and having our next target right at that weekly high. If we can get that, then my friends, we have a weekly higher low on the YM, which means very likely that our NQ is playing along and our ES daily time frame has been a little bit bullish as well. So going to the daily time frame, we don't quite have room for daily higher lows. In fact, we're in a bit of an equilibrium situation. So what I would look for the bull case would be that equilibrium here, another day of red, setting a low, and then I'd like to see bulls break 33,731. And if we break bearish again, well, then we have ourselves a low support of 33,033 and 33,004. So weekly or daily equilibrium on the YM is one of the possible things we'll look for to break bullish or bearish. And back to our bull case, what I would like to see would be that bull flag set up in conjunction with the YM. If we don't get the Dow playing along with a bull break on either of the other two indices, then it's less likely to see follow through. If we see the 3 of the 4 major indices trading in conjunction with each other, we're going to have a lot more confidence in next week's ability to carry the bulls and have bull strength sort of filter into, trickle down, if you will, into our other names or picks. You live 4 feet. You too, brother. Okay, weekly time frame. Here's our Russell. This is that ugly zone that I don't like. And until we're out of that zone, I have no clarity on the Russell. My clarity is we are chopping around. So we got a daily higher low. Bulls have they followed through? Not really, right? It's kind of just ugly. And until we're out of this range, I don't really have a lot of clarity here. So back to our other names. If we can get those 3 out of 4 going, then we see the Russell break out of this orange box of death and ideally break over 18.27.4, 18.25.5, knock out some of those resistances. Then, my friends, we have a weekly bit of balance that has attempted 2 bear breaks with no follow through and has a limited area of resistance up to 2016.9. Overall, that's a pretty tasty setup. However, there's just not a lot of clarity or what's not another word for clarity. There's just no real indications about the direction of this break yet. We can just sit back and wait, and we can speculate all we want, but until we see something decisive happening, there's just not much of a play here. So I'd like to see all of these names see some strength, and if I see anything other than that, we're likely to settle back into a bit of consolidation. Now to play the devil's advocate for that on the weekly time or the QQQ, let's go back to our NQ on the weekly. What that is going to look like for me is more substantial losses of our daily time frame. A weekly close maybe under our EMA 12. That'd be a pretty big red week yesterday. Or it would be a pretty big red week next week. And I would be concerned if we lose daily higher lows or close under our EMA 12 here at the same time. On the ES, we have that converging range. If we see a very profound rejection from that proposed trendline resistance and a loss of our 4064 level, we're more likely to settle into a bit of a weekly consolidation here. And that would have our YM bulls continuing. That would actually be that bear break of that daily. No, where's our daily equilibrium? Look at the wrong guy. Where am I? Yes, there it is. And that would be the bear break of this weekly EQ daily equilibrium on the YM. And that would have a loss of 33,033 as we chatted about. And then just more choppiness in the Russell. All right, so optimism for next week. Some good conditions present, but we do need to see that nice profound follow through. All right, so chatted a little bit longer than I anticipated it. We have about 13-ish minutes left before the robots come. Let's go take a look at some time frame analysis for Nvidia for Corrego. So we had Nvidia up on the chart here a little while ago. And because it's end of the day, we're going to do our smaller term time frame analysis first. And as I said, as we got to the outset of this call, we have a bit of an equilibrium with our high, low, lower, high, and higher, low forming up. You can also look at this as a 5-minute sort of a head and shoulders-y pattern with a low, lower, low, bulls building. Now we need a target for the bulls up 13 to 60. If they can get that, then our next resistance is high of day. So if we're going to see some short-term optimism coming in here in the next 13 minutes as we start to close out the day, we're to see, are we positioning for follow through to the upside over the weekend, or are we more likely to see some profit taking because we've had a pretty great week? Well, given the fact that we've seen some big sells today, I think a profit taking at the end of the day is less likely. So bulls have some good opportunity here, not having to fight against that tide. 313.58 is the target for the bulls to break over again, and then for the higher day. All right, so how do we fit in this analysis into the overall time frames, weekly and down? On the weekly time frame, you can see why RSI just gets thrown out of the water. Thrown out of the water? That's not a real phrase, is it? Can't be. Thrown out of the water. I don't know. It sounds right, but at the same time, it sounds completely made up. Okay. Thrown out of the water. I don't know. What do you guys tell me if that's just insanity or what's happening? Have I been looking at charts too much? Okay, NVIDIA weekly time frame RSI has been overbought for a while, which means we stopped paying attention to it. It doesn't matter anymore. Price action is what we need to watch, and we are well away from the EMA 12 on the weekly time frame. So we're going to be watching for weekly daily support, 260-220. So much room for daily consolidation, daily uptrend, daily higher lows, anything over 280.46 is a daily higher low. And look at this, we got ourselves a beautiful inside bar. We have an equilibrium day, 15-minute EQ, daily inside bar. Do we have juice enough for tomorrow or for Monday to see some bullish follow through? It's possible, but given the fact that we are looking for another bit of consolidation for the QQQ and NQ bulls to have a little bit of a more rest, I would be not surprised at all to see a bear break and a daily higher low being the most likely outcome. So I'm going to be watching for inside bar breaks on Monday. And we'll see where we shape up. If we shape up underneath that 309.16 level, I would be scouting hourly lower highs under today's high of day. But overall, we have some good potential for bull flags here as well. Daily inside bar is going to be very telling as to what to expect. So again, inside bar bear break, we're going to be scouting daily higher lows because overall we're quite strong. But so far, bulls just holding and healthy balance and healthy consolidation here intraday. Very nice. Keep an eye on that level. Leave that chart open. It's a combination of two sayings. I don't even know the original sayings. I think I've been at the computer too long. 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day is too much. All right. Who's next? K-Ham. What's up, buddy? K-Ham wants to look at BMY. Oh, do you know who else I need to check out? Is TD. Because I remember seeing an article a few weeks ago about TD being the most shorted bank in the world. Something like that. There's a lot of concernicus about it. Let's see how that shaped up. All right, BMY Squib Company on the weekly time frame. Overall, not a very strong chart, is it? So what we're doing is we're hunting. We're hunting for opportunity. We're looking at, is this a low where we can start going long? That's really the name of the game here. So what I gotta do is just take a look and see if there's any clear horizontal levels that have been coming into play a lot. The only one I really see that gives me a lot of clarity is around this high, which we're close to, I guess. So let's throw it in there just for fun. So I'm looking at the fact that we've come up, look to our left and to our right, and we can see how often this zone becomes resistance, and we either have acceptance above it or we don't, or it becomes, support, and we have acceptance below it or we don't. So we're at a level where there's a good chance for a big decision to be made. If we fall through and see a lot of follow through under 65.95, we're more likely just to continue right down to our 53.22 level. So the question is, what sort of setup do we have in the daily and monthly time frame, and how does that inform our possible decision-making process? So we've got a little bit of support at 65.28. Well, it's a daily low, I should say. And today we got down to 65.18, so just a little bit below that. So what we end up in is a situation where we have a hypothetical horizontal support level. We have a 65.95 level that has seen a lack of follow through once. Now we need to see if we're going to lack of follow through again. The nice part about it is we have a big daily downtrend. So unless you are ninja-like and you have the dexterity of whatever nimble creature you can think of, because I got one right now, 71.07 is the key level that the daily bulls need to take. I want to be in a daily uptrend before I really get too interested in this. Otherwise, I'm just like scraping bottom. I'm hoping and praying that we're going to see some sort of reversal here. And there's just not a lot for me yet. Daily time frame, a little bit of compression, bear break. I need to see something. The weekly time frame's got nothing. I know I misspoke referencing the 71.07 as a daily level. We need to see a weekly trend change, but I need to see a daily trend change before I'm interested in a long position. So given the fact that we've dropped from 69.10, I'm going to look for a lower high and then maybe a higher low. And if we can get a solid bounce here, then I'll feel more inclined to take a daily higher low entry in anticipation of that lack of follow through being an opportunity for a lower high under 7107. So there's going to be a lot of components here that need to work together, which is a result of this being an overall bearish chart with not a lot of clarity either. Does that make sense, Kaham? What's your read on it? What are you looking for? All right. Charmaman Dan. What's the sentiment on crypto in the chat room? Well, you may be shocked to know that I am not a crypto guy. That's why Dan does all the live streams. But I can tell you that the sentiment is not it's not grand, right? Weekly time frame, there is room for weekly higher lows. But remember when I was talking about early on, talking about wedge patterns and looking for like when it feels the worst, it feels the scariest is usually when it's a longer term big support being tested. We zoom out to the weekly time frame, right? We saw a weekly higher low in our EMA 12. We had a pretty good dippity do there. Now we're seeing some weakness on, you know, the daily time frame looks pretty scary. We're talking a lot about, well, listening in Lori's shows last couple of days, you know, not a lot of positive things to say about Bitcoin. Go to the daily time frame. Daily's in a downtrend, right? So it's hard to get jacked up on Bitcoin. But let's look at it. We have a EMA 12 touch. Okay, so what do we need to see to get more excited about Bitcoin? We need to see a daily resistance break, 27,659. Then we're back at possibly heading toward the 30,000 level. So sentiment is not, well, I shouldn't say that. My sentiment is it's got a lot of opportunity, but we do need to see some of this nice bull volume coming in. And if we look at the daily volume showing up on Bitstamp, let's go compare it to Coinbase before we get too ahead of ourselves. Yeah, there's a lot more bear volume coming in than bull volume. That needs to change. Nice little clear level there. Coinbase bulls need 27,711.55. And the nice part is there's limited overhead resistance should they want to do that. And if they do, then it's more likely, well, weekly inside barb. More likely to see that little baby reversal to buy themselves a little bit more opportunity and hold this EMA 12. Closing under the EMA 12, not going to be a good look. All right. You're looking for higher low on the daily play for a swing. Got it. We're looking at the same thing. Addressed us. XBI short. Oh, let's go look at the TD. Yep. So I want to say, I don't want to be like, hey, you silly gooses, you're in the red now. But if TD was the most shorted stock, it has gone up a little bit. And not that I took a trade on it though. All right, XBI short for my man, Adrastos. Okay. So looking at the weekly time frame, we don't have a ton of clarity. We are in, well, maybe in a 2-week. Well, let's start here. 2-week. Yeah, 2-week downtrend. A little bit of clarity there. 92.60. Should read the rest of your question. Looking like the weekly's forming an EQ, thinking of swinging to a lower range. 76 would be the low end, so maybe 79. All right. So, lower highs, lower lows. So the most likely outcome is lower high under 92.60. Our macro picture was EQ, but that broke bearish, and we're back in a big old choppy range. Weekly time frame. You're looking for an EQ. I don't like it on the weekly time frame, but it doesn't matter because we've knocked out supports, and now we're a little bit extended. And what's interesting about this one is we have a big outside bar here. So bulls did very, very well, and a bear attack. That could be a daily bull flag, and I know Dan would call it a bull flag. We had a daily high or low. That's enough. Then we see bulls stepping in again on higher volume. The bear volume here is nice. So whenever we're looking for daily higher lows, one of the things that we can add to our check mark for continuation for the bulls is if on their attempt the bears cast less votes, right? If you go to an election and your party casts 10,000 votes and the other party only casts 5,000 votes, guess who's going to win? You have equal opportunity. You need to show up for your party's actions to get follow through. Here, the bears are not showing up to vote. Now they are. So we get that follow through. We get our small doji. We get a bigger outside bar. So we saw bull strength into balance. What's going to be interesting is who broke bull first. Who broke resistance or support first? Who broke these levels? Because that's going to tell a little bit of a different story about who has momentum. So if we have our original doji and we close here, there's a difference between going up, slamming back down, and then coming back up. Because if we're coming back up, it is bulls who are winning because they have fought off that bearish attack. If we go down and then we go up and then we come back down, it's the bears who are winning because they have stomped out another advance. So that's what we need to know. So we are looking for a weekly lower high. We are looking to see who has some momentum. What we want to do is see the bears having the last attack. So we want the price to be up today and then coming back down. Let's see over the last 4 hours or the daily time. That's pretty good. Actually, no, let me correct that. That's the bulls answering back. So not our ideal scenario. So that changes us from looking for an entry in the short term to looking for an entry underneath the high. That will give us a high, higher high, and lower high pattern. We have to give these short-term bulls an opportunity to exhaust. They've had 2 attacks. Bears should have been able to do more with this, but they were not able to. So we're going to let the short-term bears get a little bit exhausted again, and then we can be scouting a short up here. We're still looking for that weekly lower high, right? But now we have to give them a little bit more room to work with. They have the hourly uptrend and limited overhead resistance beyond 86.17. So if we're looking for a short, we want to see an hourly trend change somewhere up here for the most bang for our buck, which is going to be, the magnitude of your price. Else, we're just looking for lower highs and then a loss of support. Right now it's 85 bucks. And you're looking for a swing down to 79. I think I would give that a little bit more juice. Sorry, my phone just decided to answer a question for me, and it really creeps me out when your phone robot is listening to you all the time, because I never use that thing. Yeah, if that's your target, it's a fine target. I just like to see a little bit more setup and clarity on the hourly time frame for that. And then, yeah, 78.13. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking. All right, Tesla, bullish or bearish for a swing? So without even needing to look at Tesla, we're going to see how we close out in the NQ. And what I'd like to see would be for a swing, well, I'm looking for a 4-hour high or low, but I'm also looking for a daily bull flag. So I'd like to see our NQ go up and then back down. So I wouldn't be looking long on Tesla. It's kind of that's where I'm hesitating to say, because I'm looking for this, right? I want to see a lower high, a lower low, and then daily continuation on the NQ. So if we go to look to our Tesla, I am looking for You know, we're in balance. I'd like to see more balance and not doing anything, or even a loss of 176.31 and then continuation. I like the charts. I like what the NQ bulls are doing. They still have opportunity, but I think we have opportunity to wait. And I would not be looking for a long swing right now because of that. Nor do I see enough reason to swing short. All right, I don't want to get caught in any sort of consolidation. I want to be ready to capitalize from it when it happens. Oh, right. Can I look at Nvidia? I did already, man. Basically the same thing as Tesla. Right? We're positioned well. I want to see inside bar bear break with lack of follow through to construct a flag on the daily time frame for a little bit more continuation. Do I know about pulse chain? Nope. Nor am I going to learn much about it. All right, we got a few minutes left. Let's go look at some tickers. Hey, Tarmo. Charmandan. Birdwatcher dude. I saw the coolest bird. I don't even know what it is. Our climate change, our climate is changing so much in my part of the world that over the last 3 years, we've seen a big change in the type of birds that are coming in, and I'm seeing birds that I've never seen before, which is really, well, alarming, but also kind of interesting. Um, I don't even, I'm gonna sit here and describe him to you, but he's a cool, oddly red woodpecker. I've seen a few of those. Okay, BTUSD, we looked at that indirectly, or sort of indirectly. Let's go look at, what is this? NOK JPY? This is a pair that I've never looked at before. Okay. So we had a weekly downtrend. Now we're now in a bit of daily balance. So we know we're in daily balance because we have a weekly low, a weekly low. We have a weekly low here. We have a weekly lower high, but not a lot of juice here. So if we go to our daily time frame, we're going to see a lot of balance. And there is our balance. So what we're going to look for is a break of balance. We want to see behavioral change. Low, low, low. Yeah, things like that. I'm going to plot out some highs too. So we're not doing anything of substance until we get out of this range. And in fact, if you go, let's see, do we have a squeeze? Oh. Okay, this is my unfinished TCG Anaconda squeeze indicator. It just tells you a whole whack of stuff, but just trust me that we have a bunch of compression. This tells me we have compression, and we have some classic TTM indicators as well, showing us our compression, and these little fancy dots tell me overall, hey, we're squeezing up. What happens when you squeeze? Something breaks. All right, now don't ask why I know this, but if you have a bar of soap in the shower and you squeeze the bejesus out of it, it is going to fly away. So we're going to get a soapy squeeze situation here on the Cronian. So that gives us a lack of clarity on the daily time frame, save for the potential for this EQ. So I'm going to get rid of these horizontal rays because it is going to get real confusing real fast when you have too much data on our chart. Shout out Dinsey. We are going to look for this to be a 4-hour equilibrium, which it sort of is. All we can say is that our weekly squeeze and our daily squeeze is really getting a lot of compression. There is a lack of clarity. So what we can do with our Forex is go and, yeah, that looks a little bit better. So right now I'm looking for the bulls to break $12.08. If they do, then I'm going to go to the daily range and say, okay, great. You've broken out of that little range. Can you do anything else? Or are you just going to go to sleep? $12.89. We need to get out of this weekly range. If we can do that and break bullish, then we have no real resistance at 13.25. And after that, quite a bit of range. Well, not quite a bit of range visually before we hit another big block of resistance. So good opportunity here. The lack of follow through. It's not a school day. The lack of follow through here to the downside gives the bulls opportunity. So get out of the daily range, then we can find something to sink our teeth into. All right. You had a cuckoo the first year of first cuckoo of the year. That's fantastic. I heard a dove the other day, which is weird again because we don't have doves. Back to new birds. No wild doves. We have wood pigeons, which are really cool. Anyway, bird nerds. All right. Back. Lots of love to you, Stargazer. You got bald eagles in Chicago? Yikes. All right. I think we're out of time. Let's go take a quick peek and see how we close out the week on the Qs. And we'll wrap it up. All right, so QQQ looking gorgeous. I like the lower wick here and the upper wick telling us that we're in that balance. Our SPY giving us the same vibes. Going to our NQ chart, which we should not have gotten rid of. Nice little pop to finish the day off. Still in a 15-minute downtrend. There's our back burner. Okay, so far nothing has changed in our thesis. Looking for our best bull case scenario going into next week is going to be a lower high in the 4-hour and the build out of a daily bull flag. ES, nice lower wick as well. So far, no bearish attack able to break the bulls down. Nice hold of support. Want to look for a 4-hour lower high and flag continuation. And everything else fitting in pretty well as well. And you know what? We got through a whole call without me going off about internals. How about that? All right, guys. That's it for me. I had a bunch of weeding to do. A bunch of animals to go water. Some ears to scratch. And I think that's it for me this week. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all your comments and like chatting with you guys. I'll be back Monday midday to do the midday show. Hopefully I'll see you then.